It's another beautiful Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the lovely co-host. Hi, ladies. How you doing? Yeah.
How you doing?
Veronica was amazing. Thank you so much, Veronica. She did an amazing job last week. I got so much positive feedback that she was great. Well done. I mean, so happpi that we have
the feedback that she was a younger sister.
I can't tell everybody that they said that. They won't be telling me that.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, how you doing, Nima? How's your weekend?
Very, very busy weekend. I was speaking at LASU.
Oh,
and I met
wow.
the law school hijab girl that was called to buy in her hijab.
Right.
I felt very honored meeting her. She's so simple. She said, so she gave us an account of how it happened, and it wasn't exactly planned. It was just her faith and conviction.
So she said that story a million times.
It wasn't planned. No, I've not heard it before.
Yeah,
and when she said it, it wasn't exactly planned because I've been there. It was same campus, same law school and everything. So that's aside. I was not able to make it to Mary Alimi's younger sister's wedding because I was speaking at last week again and it was delayed. But I got gifts. All these ones from the last people to make up for the delays.
Cool, nice.
This is from Mansard and the girl that's been styling my hijab recently.
Nice, fantastic. How are you doing, Tokwe? How was your weekend?
My weekend was also really busy. Saturday we had meeting for ELC. I'll be part of the online presenters.
Yay!
So Excellence Leadership Conference has been
Fantastic.
impactful on my life, and it will be this weekend, and I was happy to serve. I was planning to travel quickly to take my kids on, like, let's go know somewhere within Nigeria, but during the midterm break, but it fell exactly when we'll be doing ELC, so I have to work, and we had our online meeting because the church is full, so anyone that wants to watch, that hasn't registered, has to watch online. But on Sunday, my husband, I'm now a honorary Lion's wife.
What does that mean?
My husband's charter, the Lions Club, Lagos Synergy Lions Club charter got presented yesterday.
What does that mean?
I was the MC for the occasion. So, like, you have your Rotary Club, you have Lions Club. It is a social club, but the advocacy is to end poverty, to touch more lives. They do diabetes tests, they do cataracts operation.
Great.
I got to learn a lot about them. I felt really like, wow. I see them from afar, all these lions. I didn't know what they were doing, but my husband is now a member, and I got a pin. I was supposed to wear my pin this morning as an honorary member, but I forgot. You know.
Nice, it's good.
I'll see what we can do together.
Community service, they do a lot of community work.
A lot.
Which is great.
A lot.
How are you doing, Mariam? How was your weekend?
My weekend was exciting and busy as well.
All of you on this busy weekend. Nobody slept through this weekend.
No
I was sleeping. Okay, go ahead.
I was supposed to join this walk, the cancer walk.
Right.
I got there early, as usual. This always happens to me. When we get invited for things, I'm the first person to get there, even before the organizers. I was there for so many hours. It didn't start on time. But so they just took me around the Bola Tinubu Diagnostic Center at LASU. It is... I'm so impressed with that place. First, I'd never been to LASU before, so it was my first time. And then that center, they're working hand in hand with Philips. So most of their equipment are, top of the art equipment.
Fantastic.
So your CT scans, your MRI machines, they do all sorts of mammogram. It's not new. It's been there for 10 years. They said
I'd like to know the procedure to get used.
Yes,
that's fantastic.
And then there are different packages you can have, you can work on, depending on how much you can spend. So please, they're asking that people, you can go there, walk in there, ask for an appointment. After your tests are done, you can also see a doctor.
Oh, nice. That's good. Well done to Lagos State.
Yes, well done.
Fantastic to them. Me, the weekend was great. I went to some
Arise. How can you forget? You said you were sleeping.
No, I didn't sleep. Okay, I slept part of it, but I went to Arise. I went with my friend Kiki, and me, I'm not used to being in those kind of circles. So I was just there was Ashwebi. They had like so many Ashwebis, like, but I've had at least maybe like 10, 15 different groups had people. Just women just like to just gather and just celebrate and
what was the impact though? What was the message for you?
Don't ask me those kind of questions. I don't like to say on national TV. But it was just interesting. It was nice. And when Commissioner for Happiness of Imo State came up and she was preaching and she was going to pray for us, and everybody was there trying to pray, and I'm wondering, how do I say amen to these kind of prayers? And the one was just there, yes, India, and I'm like, yeah, right. Let me just separate the message from the messenger. Okay, please, just let me focus on the prayer.
Oh,
so difficult.
No.
That's how you retain your sanity.
Why nepotism kind of setting?
It's just, we don't know too much about these leaders. Now, the kind of things we read in the papers, we don't make you just be comfortable saying amen to those kind of prayers.
Yeah.
But anyway, let me not say too much. News mentioned today, the Lagos State Sector Command of the Federal Road Safety Corps has issued a warning to commuters to desist from throwing waste out of their moving vehicles, saying that defaulters will pay how much? 5,000 naira.
It's too small.
It's too small, right?
It's too small.
Don't worry, for every time you throw something.
I totally agree. But how do you know? Do you not take the pictures and the plate numbers? How do you tell?
I actually have a video of a car I followed one time. Beautiful Prado Jeep, and the lady just threw it. I moved closer to see if it was the driver. It was one nicely dressed with dark glasses, and she threw something out of the car. I was so disgusted. I still have the video. Maybe I'll use it. I'll send it to FRSC.
All right, let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll try to go through the front pages of the newspaper. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, we're going to start with the Punch. APC senators, reps attack party, say we are not better than PDP. That's according to Senator Ibrahim. He says that things have not changed. Many things are worse, and people are bitter. We should not assume that we can win, even with massive rigging. That's Senator Ibrahim speaking. Picture here of Shiite protest rocks Abuja. Army confirms killing 3. Website designer nabbed for defiling 16-year-old virgin. Family tackles Lagos hospital over death of sickle cell patient. Nigeria will break if it becomes Islamic nation, says Oyedepo. Kaduna relaxes curfew, begs airlines NRC to resume operations. Electricity were being forced to reduce generation, says power firms. And then he dies at 85. Buhari, Saraki, PDP, Abeseki, others mourn. And PDP condemns Buhari's aide, INEC chair's secret meeting. Let's talk about this little girl that passed on. What was her name again?
Her name wasn't mentioned, but the perpetrator of the act's name was mentioned. So there's a website designer. This is in Ogun State. His name is Abiodun Amoso. He has a house help. The lady he allegedly raped, her madam had gone out, and so he raped her and sent her out. She was crying. He said while he was raping her, she was crying, and he beat her on top of the raping for crying, and then sent her out. She said she sat in front of the house crying because she had nowhere to go. She's from Benue State. Luckily, a good Samaritan found her and took her to the police station. He tried to deny it, but there was evidence still of the rape because she's a virgin.
So they went immediately to the scene.
House.
That is important. The police went immediately to the scene, and they were still able to recover the bedsheet, blood stain and all that. At that point, he had to confess. The police, they should note it again.
Right.
Those ones that we have
to mention about the young girl, Daniela Ojime, that died. She's a sickle cell patient. Unfortunately, her parents took her to the hospital.
Yes, they took her to the hospital, and she had crisis, and they were referred to Alimosho General Hospital. But they said when they got there, the doctor on duty was so nonchalant. She asked them what they were doing there, and then referred them somewhere else without even taking her, vitals. And before they left there, just as they were leaving, she passed on. So sad. The parents are, of course. I think we should have more litigation, this kind of cases. Nima already said we should have more class action because I've been in situations where you get to general hospital and because the doctors are actually overwhelmed, they just say that we don't have space. And in true fact, if you check, they don't have space. So it's more like quickly go to somewhere else where there'll be space. But your concern must be let's administer the first.
But I was worried reading the story.
Is the management of this. Yes. There's a family in crisis. Show empathy. Show that you care.
Mariah, let me try and be the doctor's advocate in this situation. Like Chokpe said, they might be overwhelmed. You don't know the number of calls they've had. But I know that in the general hospital, it is not nurse's duty. There's a place where they take the vitals. You don't just walk in straight and see a doctor. Even at the emergency ward, you see a nurse who will take your vitals and then refer the case files to the doctor. So I don't understand how they had to see a doctor straight and they had a doctor's name.
The doctor immediately told them to leave. They didn't even take their vitals.
Sad. Let's move on now to the nation. Nigeria got 1.1 trillion naira from oil in 28 years, says federal government. And then he dies at 85. Supreme Court's rebuke unsettles courts of appeal. Do you have that story? I was hoping you would read that story. 3 die as Shiites clash with troops in Abuja. 2019 APC senators differ over Buhari. I really don't have the details of this court, but it was interesting that the Supreme Court referred to the appeal court's judgments concerning the I think the case in like the elections that was set aside, I think the appeal court set aside that the APC should not conduct the primaries or something like that. I can't remember what the case is, but the point is that the Supreme Court was saying that judicial rascality was the phrase they used to describe the appeal court's judgment. And they also used that what they did was sacrilegious. And appeal court didn't find it funny that why would
use such words?
Yes, you're a Supreme Court, you made your own judgment, we accept it, but don't even make it worse by using those phrases. And that really, they found that a bit hurtful.
I would like to read the article.
Okay, read the article later, but let's talk about who has the Nigeria got 1.1 trillion from oil. It was actually our vice president speaking there. He was saying that we have, he was breaking down how much we earned in 28 years for over in oil revenue. That we've earned the least since 2015 to date, and yet we didn't see any development. Again, we're going back to blaming the previous governments. That's pretty much what our article is saying. Moving on now to Daily Sun. Panic in Abuja, Shite policing showdown, restructuring Atiku hits back at Osinbajo, Kano Southeast Governors Ohaneze stopped federal government IPOB Pali, Rivers APC Congress's appeal court unhappy over reprimand, and killings Oyedepo GNI warned politicians against violence, unguarded utterances. Let's talk about the IPOB. Shiites. Who has that story? Yes.
IPOB or Shiites?
Oh, Shiites, yes.
So finally, the Shiites had a procession that was marked. Their annual procession was supposed to be on Saturday. According to them, they had gotten permission to carry on with the procession, but they did this in protest of their leader who's remained in detention in Abuja. And along the procession way, they had a roadblock in Abuja. I don't know who would legalize such a roadblock, because a procession is not supposed to disturb other the illegal activities happening within the city. So you have a permission to carry on your procession peacefully. But they went on, and there was a clash between them and the army, because the army wanted to pass through the road. They claimed they were carrying ammunition from one base to another within Abuja Metropolis, and they clashed with the Shiites. I saw a video where, you know, it was really tough. They were really pelting the army. I, at some point, was thinking, when would they start to shoot? And eventually, that happened. So 3 people died, and there are accounts of what happened. The Shiites are claiming they have videos to show that the army provoked them into
the video that came out, we don't know whether it came out from the Shiites or from, it was some bystanders. And from what we saw, eyewitness report was that, I think that when we have protests, we must curtail the people we must respect the uniform. Because it was obvious that there was no respect to the military officials. Even if you feel like they have not done the best for you as a person, they are still meant to protect us. You can't be stoning and throwing stones at a military official without expecting things to go haywire.
Unfortunately, that 3 people died. Really, really sad.
Really sad.
Moving on now to Nigerian Tribune. Restructuring Atiku knocks Osinbajo, says Ekweme, others and I collaborated to birth the idea of 6 geopolitical zones. Why Buhari will face defeat in Northeast, says Senator Bukar Ibrahim. Nigeria projected to spend 1.6 trillion naira on oil subsidy in 2018. Federal government borrowed only $10 billion since 2015, says Vice President. Atiku knocking Osinbajo, what happened? I mean, the story I read, the VP was just trying to say that, listen, he's been in this issue of restructuring for many years, especially when he was Attorney General in Lagos State, that they had sued the federal government at the time, took federal government to court, and they lost the case where they tried to say, we're asking for resource control. Unfortunately, they lost this case where the Supreme Court said, you can't have individual resource control in the state, but 13% derivative was given to the oil-producing states. So he's saying that they have been those advocating for restructuring since. But you were also part of the federal government at the time. He was the VP to Obasanjo. But Atiku responded saying that he and Ekweme others actually birthed the 6 geopolitical zones, and that he shouldn't act as if he wasn't part of also the restructuring, the fight for restructuring. Okay.
It's all political, though.
Moving on to The Guardian. Panic grips Abuja as Shiites march today. Lassa fever kills 2, infects health workers, 2 others in Ondo. Nigeria accounts for 45% out-of-school children in West Africa, says UNICEF. Yes, you want to take the Lassa story?
So the Nigerian Center for Disease Control said that they recorded 2 new cases, several new cases of Lassa fever in Ondo State, with 2 deaths. And this is worrying for me. I wonder why we no longer deal with this kind of diseases. Stella Dadevo's birthday was over the weekend, and these are the kind of things that should remind us how important infectious disease control should. We should put it.
And our last paper today is New Telegraph. 2019, Buhari will be defeated in Northeast, says Bukar Ibrahim. Good night, Mr. Fixes, Chief Tony and then it passes on at 85. Sanusi governors must embrace birth control, stop Al-Majiri. Lots of stories here. Who has the Buhari Ibrahim story? Nobody?
I want to talk about Sanusi.
Sanusi, go ahead.
Because the emir is speaking again, and you know, by people, we Muslims will start to come out and start to bring a lot of fatwas saying, why should the emir say this? Birth control is not un-Islamic. Within the limits, he had advised that governors should look into it. And he's also talking, like he said before when he was criticized, about the northern elites, so-called. So we have so many mosques within the northern region and less schools. He provides solutions saying, nobody's saying you shouldn't use your mosques for prayers. Convert them within the breaks between prayers, convert them to schools, and then you resume prayers in between. Yeah. So utilize this mosque. There should be more emphasis on education. He also criticized the federal government for investing so much in subsidy and advised that they should, focus on.
Senator Buhari Ibrahim was just in very quickly.
Our heart goes out to the family, the Aneni family.
Yeah. Yes.
It was very, very involved in the Nigerian politics way back.
Yes. And they call him Mr. Fix-It. He was amongst the Fix-It.
Yeah. No, because he was really, really actively involved in politics. Okay. Our heart goes out. We pray that we have more people that will focus on the fact that they are going to die soon and speak right.
All right. Amen. That's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we return, the hottest topic in town. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Your View. Thanks for staying with us. So recently, we have been discussing the importance of certificates in political appointments. Over the weekend, the story of our dear president went viral over the non-submission of his academic credentials to INEC. However, Nigerians are reacting whether certificates should be an important matter to good governance. What are your thoughts on this? Join the conversation 070-80668014. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. So in your view, why is this issue coming up again? It's gone before years already. Initially, what exactly did he submit initially when they're saying that it's still with the military? And we're seeing different angles. People are saying, why are you asking an 80-plus-year-old man, or at least almost 80 years, for a 50-year-old certificate? Others are saying it's required because same way it was required for, what's her name, Adeoshun, the NYSC, that what is good for the goose is good for the gander. What do you think on this, Nima?
Okay, with all of us being required at one point or the other to bring out a certification, I think it's important that they bring it out. Now, the issues are that he is president, he got to head of state, he got to the highest cadre of the military. There's no way he doesn't have a certificate. But we didn't create the law that requires that you present the certificate. They wrote the new electoral laws and the INEC guidelines to require every candidate to present their certificate. So, please, President, present your certificate. If it is still with the army, you are the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Ask and request that you...
The army already said that they don't have it.
That's what I'm saying. That was the excuse the first time. Is with the army, and again is with the army. And now the army are coming out in 2018 to say, we don't have it. So where is it?
The generals that were in his league at that time, a few of them have come out. Basanjar has come out. Akiri Ade has come out and said, listen, there's no way any of them could have been admitted into that military school without their certificate, number one. There's no way that all of them had actually received.
Unfortunately, you don't prove that you went to school just by having pictures of your classmates. You don't prove it like that. You present a certificate. I have my YX certificate, and I can't even remember the faces of some of my classmates. So imagine I was going for
your dad to go and produce his own YX certificate. Is that possible? Would your dad have
I've seen it.
So let me explain.
So he has it.
Mariah,
my father doesn't have his own. My father is late, but I told him there's no way you can provide a 50-year-old document.
But
go ahead.
I smell distraction.
Okay.
And I smell a major distraction. And like always, Nigerians, we just fall for it. Because this distraction came before the elections in 2015. And it died down, he was allowed to contest. Suddenly, because they want to, there are forces trying to manipulate us into thinking and moving ourselves into another case of arguing against another over certificate of someone that has served our country twice at presidential level. Here's the conversation I want Nigerians to be having. When he took up power in 2015, what was the economical status of Nigeria? How have we fared so far? What is the revenue that has come in? How have we been better? Health sector better? Education sector better? What exactly has been done? Because at the end of the day, we cannot remove from Buhari's, President Buhari's CV that he has ruled Nigeria twice. So if for any reason somebody proves that he doesn't have a white certificate, it is to our own disadvantage that we allowed someone without a basic qualification rule us twice. Maybe we should. That's not an argument.
Maybe actually what we should do is review the age of the person that becomes our president, because there's no way you can expect somebody at that age to have a certificate.
The expectation was that WAEC should have it.
No,
I'm talking about the maximum. I'm not saying the minimum. I'm talking about the maximum age.
I don't think it's about this. For me, puts the army in sort of a
bad light.
Yes, because what a lot of them are saying is that probably you misplaced his results. After all, we have gone to offices and we've seen the state of how files are kept. So that is a possibility. And recently, some few years ago, University of Jos had a fire breakout and a lot of documents and projects were burnt down. And we know that if someone has...
I agree with you. So these are facts.
Yes.
It can have happened that way.
Yeah.
But the issue, the real question people are asking that, should INEC therefore disqualify him?
No,
no. That's what I'm saying. So there are different reasons why you can't provide this certificate. There are different reasons why it's possible it was lost or something happened, but then should you qualify to run?
He's eligible.
That's the real issue.
The question is that he's eligible to run for election. And I'm not a lawyer, so I read this particular lawyer. His name is Olu Adegboruwa, and he says that that the president is eligible because under the, and by virtue of Section 318 of the Constitution, school certificate or its equivalent, secondary school certificate of its equivalent, primary 6 school leaving certificate or its equivalent, service in the public or private sector in the Federation in any capacity acceptable to INEC. So, and our president has... What? He's a military officer. Yeah. Okay. He has served in the public sector.
Qualification is no problem.
Qualification. So is he eligible? He is eligible to run.
May I just quickly say that for me, this goes to the issue of integrity. If I had sworn to an affidavit, which he did in 2015 before the elections, in 2014, that my certificate was with a body, and that body comes out to say, I don't have it, I would hold that body to account. I would sue that body to present or explain how my certificate is no longer in their custody. That is for me, so that nobody questions what I have said.
So wait, my point is that doesn't the fact that he has an equivalent suffice?
It suffices. Why?
We have an equivalent. Shouldn't that? Why are people now
equivalent? You are saying your certificate, the particular one in question, is with a body, and that body comes out to say we do not have it. If the law requires that INEC insists on having it or removes that candidate, they should follow the law. It's already written. We don't re-amend the law at this point.
On our president.
Exactly.
Yes. To reset
it to find
it.
Article I read, I think,
certificate
that said that former President Obasanjo was saying that he attended military college. He went to Buhari went to I think it's War College in the US, which is equivalent of like a master's degree or even a BSc. So if he has all these things, why are we waiting for WAEC? On issue of certificate?
And he wouldn't have been able to do that without those certificates.
Exactly. So what's the issue? Yeah.
A lot of people on Twitter are arguing this. I think we should spend our energy arguing increasing power supply, increase education. Let's not use certificates to this. He is going to contest whether we argue this or not. Spend your time investing in what is going on. What is he doing while he's in power? He still has a few more months to go.
Do you have any tweets on this? Because people are saying that we should focus on the issues and not the
immediately because I still wonder. If someone doesn't have my certificate after I'd said they have it, I would sue them. That's my I would sue them more.
Anyways, let's go on a break. That's all we can take on that. But hopefully they resolve this on time because we definitely don't want to keep going on. Do you have tweets?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Charles Esho says, if His Excellency, the President of this great country, can't provide the result, then he should be tagged corrupt. And Ogun Olusheye says, heaven knows how much I love and I know that you've got a bright future. Well, I don't know why she's starting.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, this issue of National Health Insurance Scheme, everybody was talking about it last week. A lot of people don't understand. Maybe people are even confused. What's the role of the people in this issue of insurance scheme? Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So recently, the issue of NHIS was brought on over the ongoing activities in the sector. Issues like non-payment of hospitals, as when due, expired HMO licenses, and etc. As we all know, that this NHIS is important to you and I. How can these issues be resolved so that we can have better healthcare for Nigerians? We have on the phone from Abuja studio a human rights activist, also the convener of Concerned Nigerians, Mr. Deji Adeyonju. Good morning, sir.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
And later I'll be speaking with the Secretary Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria later on. But let me start with you, sir. I know everybody read pretty much your thoughts and comments on the issues going on at NHIS, your view, and the fact that you were actually defending the, I think it's Malam Yusuf on that.
Yeah.
But the issue we are concerned about on your view is not so much about if he was right, or if he was wrong, or he should be sacked or not sacked. The issue exactly is, what are the problems in the NHIS that is not letting HMOs that affect us or our own personal health care, what are the issues within the NHIS that is not allowing this fund to come out such that we can have the doctors paid to have proper healthcare services? That's really what concerns the people, not so much of who is at the helm of affairs or not. But let me hear your thoughts on exactly the issues happening exactly in NHIS, in your own view.
Okay. Well, the issues are very simple. Number one, it's issues of the HMOs. The HMOs are like, middlemen between the NHIS and the hospital management. For instance, when someone is on the NHIS program, you're supposed to be able to walk into any hospital and enjoy free medical services, not really free per se, something that they take money out of your insurance, your health insurance, to cover this cost. So what happens is very simple. The HMOs, they receive like 3 months money to cover the 3 months, upfront.
Okay.
And when NHIS pays them this money, instead of them paying the hospitals, they keep these monies, in accounts so that they can accrue interest. They also use this money, as collateral to take loans from banks and all that. So in the long run, the healthcare sector in the country suffers. So this young man at the NHIS, Professor Yusuf, this is some of the issues that he's tackling. And some members of the NHIS cabal, which involves the HMOs, large majority of them are politicians anyway, so they are angry about that issue. For instance, the National Hospital, some of the HMOs are owing the National Hospital about 400 million. So when you owe maybe an hospital like the National Hospital 400 million, monies that have already been paid, what it means is that people who should benefit from these healthcare services will suffer. There are only about 3 million Nigerians on the NHIS, scheme, which it should not be so. In a country that works, every citizen should be captured on an NHIS scheme.
All right, one second.
Understand? So we should be talking about 30 million or maybe like 130 million. But there are only 3 million Nigerians on the NHIS scheme. Imagine, for instance, the police. I'll give you an example of the police. The police, they are one of the major beneficiaries of NHIS. So imagine our officers who are on the front line or in the military, who are serving the country, who are on the NHIS scheme, who maybe they were wounded in a fight against Boko Haram or armed robbers or kidnappers or something.
Okay.
And they rush them to the hospital, and for them to reach the hospital and they're supposed to enjoy the medical facilities, the hospital cannot attend to them because the intermediary between the NHIS and the hospital has refused to pay.
All right, let me hold you for a second.
You're starting off a lot of accusations, sir. A lot. And if you're saying it like it's a fact, they've been paid, they use it to get loans, they've been paid, they put it in fixed deposits. You're throwing out this accusation like it is a fact. If indeed the NHIS has proof that they have been paid money and the monies don't go into where it should go, shouldn't there be a court case to prove this? As opposed to people just throwing up allegations when we have consequences of this non-payment, which you just gave an example of the military officials having issues getting access to good health care. If you have proof of this, why are we not prosecuting the HMOs? Why are there issues with the NHIS?
I believe that the EFCC is also investigating some of these allegations. For instance, issues of diversion of funds meant to pay hospitals, issue of diversion of these funds to the banks. If you look at what almost everybody that is fighting the executive secretary is talking about, they are not talking about these issues of corruption. They are talking about, oh, the man did this, the man did. No. We are talking about reforming the health sector in the country. So if you guys are not interested in reforming the health sector, and you are more bothered about the administration of NHIS, then there's a problem somewhere.
Okay.
And this is why those who have said that the unions, the HMOs, the board, the ministry, they're all working in collusion with the HMOs, to destroy the healthcare sector have a point. You see why I said that some of the issues are being investigated is simple. Number one, there's an allegation that some of the HMOs diverted over 40 billion naira. You understand? And these monies are stashed in banks. The EFCC, I believe, has recovered, I think, over 2 billion naira, of those funds.
Okay.
And investigation is still ongoing.
Let me pause you for a second.
The second issue is that funds have been given to HMOs.
Hang in there. Go ahead, Nima.
Okay, so we understand all the allegations on your side, but the Malam Yusuf, the head of the NHIS, was previously suspended by the Minister for Health so that an investigation can be carried into corruption allegations against his person. So I understand, we've heard your side, just so that we can understand the other side. Why was he reinstated? And why are there still more allegations? Why are the people insisting that he has not answered to cleared his own name on the allegations against him?
Okay, let me answer that, because I'm not speaking for him, I'm not standing for him. I was part of those who also condemned him and the administration of NHIS, and I hailed his suspension then. But having listened to a friend of mine who works at the NHIS, you understand, having listened to him, what is happening at the NHIS is very simple. That when this man came, most of the HMOs, they had issues with him. Because, number one, when the guy came, he said that most of them, their licenses had expired, and that they needed to renew their licenses. So that was an issue. Secondly, he said, when he came, he said that he wanted to clean and sanitize the system, and that many of them were not paying the hospitals. And that henceforth, before they paid them, because before they used to give them 3 months in advance, and that henceforth, before they pay them, they must bring a letter from each of the hospital of non-indebtedness. Yeah. So the cabal at NHIS obviously said, oh, this man wants to stop where we are eating. And most of the organs at the NHIS say, oh, this man has come to block our chop.
Okay.
And it's typical with the Nigerian system. Once somebody comes that tries to sanitize the system and block the system, people begin to resist. So
all right, let me
I was part of those who hailed his suspension.
Yeah.
I was happy with his suspension. But haven't had the other side, because I had only one side. Okay. Haven't had the other side.
All right.
I now said, oh, for the first time, it seems that the president actually got his reinstatement right.
Let me pause you for a second.
So one last question. You're known as being a crusader for justice. So in your opinion, how do you think the executive secretary should handle this? Because, we seem to be at an impasse. We have the people saying one thing, and then we have you, giving another side of the story. What do you think he should do? Because it doesn't look right that he's forcing himself back into the premises when he has been asked to stay out. How would you, in your opinion, handle it or advise him?
You see, very simple. This still boils down to the president. The president must show commitment, because you cannot be claiming to be fighting corruption, and there are clear cases of diversion of funds, monies that were meant to take care of hospitals. People are contractors, who are the intermediaries, which are the HMOs, diverted the money, and people are free. There is no consequences for any action, and the guy who is trying to sanitize the system has suddenly become, he's now the hunted. Somebody who should be the hunter is now the hunted, and you cannot be claiming to be fighting corruption. You cannot leave the board there or the ministry who is frustrating the man and expect sanity in the NHIS.
Right.
It's either you sack the board, or you sack the minister who is causing the problem, or if you feel that this man is corrupt, you sack him.
Okay.
You cannot, because we cannot have progress in the NHIS.
Right, we have, unfortunately,
the person trying to sanitize the system
is
not
have to go
the
on a break.
You understand? It means that that this government is not ready to fight corruption.
Right. Okay.
You cannot, as currently as NHIS is, you cannot leave the system, because it seems that the man is the only one who is speaking on one end, and all the others that have been chopping and who their chop has been blocked On the other side, teaming
all right,
up
we have to go on a
against
break now. Thank you very much, Deji, for your thoughts on this. When we come back, we'll be speaking with the Secretary, Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria, Mr. Chris Achia. He's also worked with NHIS. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So we have with us the Secretary, Association of Civil Servants of Nigeria, NHIS chapter, Mr. Chris Achia. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers.
Mr. Deji earlier spoke about a cabal. The HMO, they're a cabal, and they get money from NHIS. And instead of them, according to him, instead of them sending those monies to the doctors, paying the doctors, these monies are invested. Do you know anything about this? And do you know if NHIS is aware of this cabal and what the issues are within the NHIS that is not allowing, at least allowing people to get the monies from the HMOs?
Yeah. It's okay. Are you done?
Yes.
Yeah. You see, the issue of HMOs taking money and not paying providers. As a regulator that we are, Professor Yusuf came in to actually make the system work. Now, if there is anything that he observed that was not working well, that was why he was sent in to work. You understand? So the HMOs collect this money, pay to the providers. Before Yusuf came, NHIS was also regulating the HMOs. And some of them were sanctioned. I can mention at this point Premium Health Trust.
Let's not mention names.
Delisted. Yes, Premium Health Trust Limited. It's a HMO. One of the biggest HMOs at the inception of the formal sector program. So it was working. These things were working. The NHIS were regulating. So when Yusuf came, he said, okay, those before reaccreditation of HMOs, they must show certificate of a non-indebtedness,
Yes.
which all of us applauded. We supported him. As a union, we have always want the scheme to work because that is where all of us are deriving our means of livelihood. The Nigerians are supposed to assess care and we are supposed to be the facilitators of this. And there is no way somebody will come in with such reforms and we will be against it. We supported him, but the idea now is that it is not just about the HMOs. Because Yusuf tried to change certain things that were done before he came. For instance, these HMOs are businessmen, and there are terms and conditions for which they operate. One of which is that they were paid 3 months to pay the providers. Yusuf changed that to 1 month payment. And that is where he is now saying that he blocked the outflow of funds out of the scheme from 5 billion to less than 2 billion. The fact is that if you're paying somebody monthly, it will not be at the same time, it's the same thing as paying somebody quarterly. You understand? Let Nigerian public know all this, other than blindfolding them with the truth and saying that, well, I came in and this is what I did, I saved so much money. I don't want to be speaking for HMOs. The HMOs can speak for themselves. Okay. The issues are here in the scheme are beyond the issue of all these HMOs that you're talking about.
Okay. What are the issues?
The environment for which Yusuf is operating now is not a labor-friendly environment for the workers. He has made the work environment so difficult, so unfriendly for all workers. These are the issues we're talking about. Now, why don't you look at it this way? Are the enrollees not accessing care? You want to strengthen enrollee service delivery. It is okay.
Mr. Achim.
Nobody can be against that.
Mr. Achim,
yes.
Mr. Yusuf was an appointee of the president. Do you think that the staff of the NHIS now who are protesting exhausted every means possible to reach out to the president on the issues that they have with Mr. Yusuf, rather than lead to this protest and try to block the entrance of the NHIS building?
Thank you very much, man. Let me respond to that. I heard you. The issue is that we have, as a union, it was not just the all staff. We called out the staff to support us in the protest. It is not just the staff that were, it's just blocking union from entering the district. We have been communicating with our national body, which has reached out to all agencies of government that are supposed to be authorities regulating NHIS, along with the Ministry of Health. There are memorandums we have forwarded. They have been copied, head of service, secretary to government of the federation. We have reached out to SSS. We have reached out on all Yusuf's infractions that has affected the operations of the scheme. As I tell you now, the scheme's budget has not been approved. And that is one of the reasons why there has been problem between him and the council. Because the council felt that he cannot work. He felt he can work without a budget.
Okay,
and without approval.
We have to round up very soon. Let me just take one more question from Tokwe. Yes.
Please, you've been saying he's making the environment unconducive. You've not said specifically what has he done to the people. What exactly has he done specifically?
Okay, as for workers.
Yes.
Yes. Sorry, ma.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I say as for workers. That you know that you cannot do anything on yourself. You take instructions from the chief executive. You take instructions from the departments. This is how we work. But since Yusuf came, most of the departments don't work freely. He run a de facto administration. These are the reasons. You talk, he transfer you. The transfers are not reflecting the needs of the organization. Okay. We have always complained about this. Most of the frictions that we had with him are in respect of some of the breaches that he do. He has been high-handed in handling.
So the issue is the high-handed. Okay, well, unfortunately, we have to round up. But where are we right now? What's the status of the situation in NHIS today?
Okay, the issue is that, like you said, his defiance of the suspension order, which has not been vacated by any other authority, suggests that he's still on suspension.
Okay.
And he should have stepped aside to allow for the investigation to be carried out.
Okay. All right. Many people have
said
that.
So that if there is any proof that he is not okay, then he can be reinstated.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Step aside and allow that. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. All right. That's all we can take on the show. Hope you have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.